I mean, the one thing that's coming to mind is this idea that we have this woman who wants to make this decision to have an abortion, and we have this unborn child. And I feel like with making abortion illegal, you're taking away the right of a woman to make her own choice.
Mm-hmm. I won't deny that. We actually are. So in that case, when we would tell a woman that she wouldn't have the right to have an abortion, that's definitely telling her that she can't do something. Mm-hmm. Is that always a bad thing? Is it ever okay to take away someone's right to do something?
I mean, in a general sense, yes, there are times like you would say, don't do something like in terms of like laws. But
can you explain that a little bit further in terms of laws?
Laws like, not breaking in and stealing something. Mm-hmm. Manslaughter.
Yes.
But I don't know, I feel, especially since like this like unborn fetus is attached to the woman, mm-hmm. and it's still like a part of the woman, I would say that it's the woman's decision. Now granted, I personally wouldn't want a woman to go through that decision, and that's where I lie in terms of like educating on birth control and like staying safe, or against sexual harassment and not having to deal with like unexpected pregnancies due to rape. So
So I'm going to share what I think I'm hearing you say, and then you can tell me if it's a good representation of what you meant, because I don't want to I don't want to not represent you well. So maybe I should ask, do you believe the unborn is a human being?
I mean, I would say so, but I gotta say, I feel like there's a point in terms of like when an unborn fetus becomes a human being kind of thing. I don't feel like the second that a zygote forms, that it would be necessarily a child, because there is like a developmental difference.
Yep. Okay, and I think you had kind of touched on that at the beginning.
Yeah.
The reason, I'm going to clarify like two different directions or opinions that sometimes people have when they mention like, well, it's part of her body. Sometimes people mean different things by that. Sometimes they mean, no, it's literally like an organ of her body, like a heart or a liver, something along those lines. They see it as synonymous to that. Other times when people say, no, it's part of her body, they're like, well, of course it's not like her body in the sense of it's actually a different organism. It has different DNA. They're like, but it is part of her body in the sense that it's attached and it's inside of her. And so sometimes people will say it's because it's not a human being and it's literally like her cells, her body, like that category over here. They say that's the reason why abortion would be okay. And other people say over here, well, no, it doesn't matter even if it is a separate human being and it is its own organism and it's separate in that sense, but it's part of her body because it's inside of her and attached. They might say, well, it doesn't matter that it is human. It's simply because it's in her body that she should have the right to kill it. So for you, maybe you've never even thought about it necessarily in that depth, but like, do you see yourself being in maybe one of those areas more than the other?
I mean, I definitely feel like there's a transition. Like, I would believe that it's like a living organism in terms of like when it has a heartbeat, or like when most of it is formed, like later in pregnancy. But at first, I don't know if I would consider it like its own organism when it's a few cells, or it hasn't really developed into anything yet.
Okay, so you would maybe even draw a line and say that it shouldn't be legal after a certain point?
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's if there's a large amount of development that this has become its own organism. I feel like if an abortion would have been considered, it should have been considered sooner.
Okay.